star on their hands, their first for years. During her 7-year contract with the studio, Doris Day made 17 films, all but 2 of them nostalgic musicals. Her new agent, Marty Melcher, who looked after her career at Warner's, became husband number 3 in 1951. Doris Day's screen image, the blonde, homely sweetheart of the Eisenhower era, was carefully nurtured by the studio. But the image was not her choice.
It was the stereotyped blonde bombshell, the very glamorous blonde. I had very little to say about it because in those days you didn't. You were in the stable and you did what you were told and you wore what they designed for you. And they wanted me to look glamorous, and they used to put stoles on me all the time, you know. Satin stoles, and I didn't like stoles, and I didn't wear them very well. They were always falling off into the scene, you know. I didn't handle them. But finally, after I was on my own and had left Warner Brothers, then I had it all to say, and my wardrobe changed.
A lot of those Warner's films, I always think, are a little bit like your favourite box of chocolates. They're a bit of a formula, you know what you're getting, and it's nostalgic and it looks back to a more innocent time, particularly the Gordon MacRae ones. Do you feel that a bit about them?
Oh, I do. I loved By the Light of the Silvery Moon and On Moonlight Bay. That was, we had so much fun. I really miss Gordon.
And that character, Marjorie Winfield, is the one that so many people associate you with. Baseball, pigtails.
Oh, she was so much fun. Marjorie, my father calling me all the time. And my brother, Wesley, with the cough. Oh, what a time we had. See, I feel about that family like I do about all the crew members that I've had through the years. You just get very close to these people, and you become family.
Some of the directors you worked for, like the Roy Del Ruth or David Butler, weren't the great directors. Did that mean you had more of a say? Because after all, the films were built around you.
Oh, no. And I was unhappy about many of the scripts. And I said to my manager, I really don't want to make this film. And he said to me, what do you know about it? Everybody was saying that to me. What do you know about it? And he said, a deal is a deal. And I said, oh, but it's so difficult to do something that you don't believe in. And I don't believe in this script. A deal is a deal, Dodo. And I knew that he was right about that.
At last, with Calamity Jane, a movie came along where everything seems to be right. You had a good choreographer. It had a good atmosphere about it. Everything seemed to click. You gave an extraordinarily energetic performance in that.
Oh, I loved it. I think Calamity Jane is the real me. I do. I've always said that.
You should have seen me a winter shopping with eyes a-popping at the sights that you see there. Yes, sirree.
That was a wild movie, you know, and she was just noisy and roughhouse and, you know, wanted to be heard above everybody.
And you lowered your voice for it. You have a different sound
yes,
in your
I
voice
did.
both singing and acting.
Yes, I did. Well, I talk like that. Oh, come on, Bill. You know, down there. It's easy.
I just flew in from the Windy City. The Windy City is mighty pretty, but they ain't got what we got. I'm telling you, boys, I ain't a swapping half a deadwood for the whole of Illinois.
This time you managed, almost uniquely, I think, amongst Hollywood actresses, to sustain 2 entirely independent careers, really. One as a recording artist and one as a film star. And they weren't dependent on each other. They had an independent existence.
Yes, they did.
And both were extremely successful. Were the worlds very different?
Not for me. Not really. Of course, in films, you pre-record and then you sing to playback. And I had never done that as a recording star. But that came very easy to me. And they used to always call me, they used to say, she'll do it in one take, lip syncing. And I usually did. I'm not bragging, but I usually did because it was easy for me. And when you record, you don't have to do that. So I didn't know anything about that. But and recording in the studios, you know, they take so much time. And I just never felt that I wanted to take all that time. I didn't want to take 3 or 4 hours to do one song. And, I have to tell you a funny one. Maybe you know this. On Secret Love, Ray Heindorf said, "Is 1 o'clock in the afternoon all right for you, Dodo?" And I said, "Sure, it's fine." And I rehearsed a little bit in the morning and went on a voice rest for a while. And about 1:15, I got out my bicycle and rode over, because I lived right near Warner's, and came into the recording studio, and he said, "Well, we're all rehearsed. We've been here for a couple of hours, and the orchestra's rehearsed. And how do you feel?" And I said, "Great, let's go." And so he had scheduled, I believe, 1 to 4 for the recording session. I went to the booth, and I said, "Ray, why don't we do a take?" And he said, "Well, you haven't rehearsed it with us." And I said, "What's the difference? Let's do a take." We did a take, and it was it. It was in one take. We did it in 3 minutes, and I went home. Why I'm so in love with you. That was the one. I swear, my right hand.
Look, if it makes you feel better to be insulting, you just go right ahead. But I happen to believe that a man decides his own destinies. If he has enough courage and enough ambition.
Right.
No, thank you. Maybe it isn't my business, I don't know. But I still say that if you go to work and finish that song, or any song for that matter,
They wouldn't like it. I tell you, they're up there working overtime on me. What some people will do for time and a half.
Young at Heart, which was your last movie for the Warner contract, seems to me to point the way towards the middle part of your career with more challenging roles, in that it's partly a tragedy and partly a comedy in a way. The bits of Frank Sinatra are very dark, and the family bits are very sunny and light.
Yes.
And how did you get on with Sinatra? Because it's almost as if you're in a different movie, almost, to him.
Well, he was odd in the movie, so maybe it worked for us.
throw back your head and laugh.
I get along very well with Frank. I always have. I really like him, and I love his work. He had a few problems on that film. He had something in his head that he did not like Marty, my husband, and he did not want Marty on the set. And I mean, this is a known fact. It was in my book and everything else. And as I remember, Frank also had a little problem with our director of photography, Charles Lang. And he threw him off the set, as a matter of fact. And that sort of caused a little friction. Not with me. I never had a problem with Frank.
You're going to be fine. Only lightning can get you. You gave me your word. Remember?
Lightning can be manufactured, you know. He needs rest now.
Doctor said he'll be all right.
He was supposed to die in that film, and he said, "I am not going to die." And everybody said, "What? We have to rewrite the script." "I don't want to die in this picture." We thought this was hilarious, and he didn't. For some reason, he always gets his way.
All that you need is a ticket. Come on, big boy, 10 cents a dance.
Released from her studio contract in 1955, Doris Day decided to play a very different kind of part in Love Me or Leave Me. The 1920s torch singer and good time girl Ruth Etting, who in real life started out in sleazy Chicago nightclubs before reaching Broadway and the movies. At the heart of this film biography was Ruth Etting's obsessive relationship with crippled small-time gangster Marty Snyder, played by James Cagney. What attracted her to gambling her new career as a freelance on such an unlikely project?
The script, and working with James Cagney, who was my all-time favorite. Who wouldn't want to do that? and to sing all those great songs and wear fabulous clothes and dance. It was everything for me. It's one of my favorite things that I've had the opportunity to do.
I was a hit tonight. A big hit. It's a chance to be somebody. It's the Follies. It's Broadway. It's a chance to meet decent people and to make friends. It's what I wanted and what I've worked for. Why should I leave it? What sense does it make?
It doesn't have to make sense. It's what I want the way it's going to be.
You can't tell me what to do.
In a pig's eye, I can't.
George, you think you own me?
You're right, Ione. That's exactly right.
We really enjoyed working together. And the look of the two of us together was so incongruous. And that's the way it really was with Ruth and Marty. And I think that all the elements were right.
He said something interesting about acting, that the simplicity is the keynote for the really great characters on the screen. There's some sort of simple heart to the performance that shines through.
Then I think the audience believes you. They know that it's coming from within you, from your soul. And it isn't just saying a lot of words like we talked about in singing.
Marty, I know what I owe you. I know it. But there's no way to pay it. Don't you see there's no way to pay it?
Ain't there?
There's a scene where he slaps you around in a very convincing way,
Yes.
about halfway through the picture. Was that difficult to do?
No. Those things are easy to do. They're real. You know, a lot of people get slapped around in real life.
Sure, but not.
Would you like to hear that part of my life?
Well, not always in Doris Day movies.
Right.
The Academy Award-winning song, Que Sera Sera, was originally the theme tune of The Man Who Knew Too Much, an Alfred Hitchcock thriller with Doris Day in another dramatic